Today we will be talking about sexual reproduction. Now the sexual reproduction topic itself, if you look to the right of your screen, the points that I'll be going through will be broken up into 5 segments. Alright, so the first segment that we'll be looking at will be the male reproductive system, followed by the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system is then broken down into the anatomical part as well as the menstrual cycle component. Okay, next we'll be talking just briefly about the area on family planning and contraception uses, covering both physical and chemical form of contraception. Okay, last but not least, we will be talking about sexually transmitted infections. Now, I understand that previous chapters there will be a short summary at the end of each video lecture. Now, for this topic itself, each segment is equally important. So therefore, there will be no summary at the end of the lecture itself. Okay, the reasons as to why is stated at the 4 parts here. Okay, you are required to understand and identify the anatomy structure of the reproductive systems. So meaning to say that you will have to learn how to identify these components as well as know the uses of them. Okay, which applies for both the male and female reproductive system, as well as knowing how to analyze the menstrual cycle chart. Okay. As for physical and chemical contraception, this is available in the form of a table in your notes, which you can refer to easily, and that will be applicable for your sexually transmitted infections component as well. Alright, now let us start part 1 of the 5 parts. So when we look at the male reproductive system, as you see on your screen here, you have got the front view here and you have got the side view here. So let's start off from the bottom of the first figure and we'll move upwards. Okay, so before we do that, let's look at an easier part of here, which is the front view, and that will look less complicated. Okay, so you have got your testes at the bottom here. Okay, so the testes, they are located hanging outwards of the body itself. So meaning to say that it hangs outside of the body due to the need to keep it cool compared to body temperature. Okay, so the body temperature hovers around about 37 degrees Celsius depending on individual's metabolism. Okay, so the growth of the sperm cells themselves require a lower temperature, and which is why the testes will hang outside the body and it will be supported by the scrotum. Okay. So once the sperm cells themselves, they are being manufactured, it will then enter into this component called the epididymis. Okay. So the purpose of the epididymis is to enable sperm cell maturation. So once it has matured and it is able to leave the body itself, it will travel out through this vas deferens. Okay. So the vas deferens is located on both sides, as we have got 2 testes region, and both will flow out through the vas deferens. It will then flow down in this direction all the way until it is removed out through the body via ejaculation. Okay, so the structure or the anatomy that allows the removal of the sperm cells through ejaculation is the penis itself. Okay. The sperm cells themselves also receives nourishment in terms of amino acids and fluids, fructose, etc. through the corpus gland, okay, as well as some from the seminal vesicle. Okay, now the seminal vesicle is only visible from the side view as it is located quite deep inside. Okay, the prostate gland, seminal vesicles, okay, will all provide the nourishment required for the sperm cell. Alright, now what do you notice at this front view is that you will realize that there is the bladder. Okay, so this bladder itself is also connected to the same urethral tract that the sperm cells will be ejaculated out of. So what this means is that the urine tract as well as the sperm tract, it is the same tract which uses the urethra. So in other words, at any one point in time, either the sperm cells can be ejaculated, which is also known as the semen, okay, which consists of the fluids plus the sperm cells themselves. can either be ejaculated or only the urine can be removed. So let me write that down. Okay, so this is what I mentioned just now. So there is only one tract. Okay, so do take note of the difference in the spelling between the urethra, which is the one that will remove the semen through ejaculation, or the urine itself, and also the spelling of urethra. Okay, so what the urethra does is that it actually connects the bladder to the kidneys. Okay, so recall in earlier chapters, what did we cover on the kidneys itself? The kidneys is part of the process of removal of liquid waste, which is excretion. So this liquid waste that is being removed through excretion, it is also known as the excretory system. Okay, so this was covered in your earlier chapters. I just want to reconnect back the chapters that we did earlier on with what you are learning currently. All right. Okay, so back to this reproductive system on the male itself. So looking at the front view, what you have seen, okay, you have seen the penis itself, which is the actual organ that supports the removal of your urine as well as the semen. We also have the scrotum and the testes. Okay, epididymis is when there are immature sperm cells that are allowed for maturation to take place. Okay, the prostate gland, the seminal vesicles are the ones that provide the nutrition for the sperm cells to move, leaving them to become semen itself. Okay, bladder, we all know that that is to control the amount of urine, to temporarily store it before it is being removed out via excretion. All right. Okay, then the movement of the sperm cells will be through the vas deferens, which is also otherwise known as the sperm duct. Okay. Erectile tissues, this is only required during male ejaculation of semen. It is not required during the urinary process itself. Okay. Now rectum, going back to your digestive system, the rectum has nothing to do with the male reproductive system. It is merely placed closely to the male reproductive system, but it is a completely different system, which is the digestive system, in which your unwanted food substances or your waste food substances are stored temporarily until egestion has taken place. Okay, now moving downwards, these are the main structures of the male reproductive system and the functions that we have covered just now. Okay, so just briefly here, let's go through these components. Okay, so the scrotum, as mentioned, it is hanging outside the penis itself, and it hangs outside of the body, the main body itself. Okay, so the main thing is that the temperature must be slightly lower than your body temperature itself. Okay, so what is the purpose of these testes that the scrotum will actually support? Is to provide testosterone. Testosterone is a hormone that is produced during puberty in larger quantities, resulting in the maturation of body characteristics. Okay, so secondary body characteristics will then be fully developed due to the presence of testosterone hormone. Okay, testosterone is higher in concentration in males, which differentiates males from females upon puberty. Okay. There is also sperm cell production, and this sperm cell production happens through a process called spermatogenesis. Okay. So once the sperms are being produced in the testes, it will then enter the epididymis, whereby those sperm are immature and they undergo maturation in the epididymis. So once it has matured, it will travel through the vas deferens, which is also known as the sperm duct. All right, and the purpose of it is to transport these mature sperm to the urethra during ejaculation. Okay, so the urethra carry both the urine as well as the semen itself during the process. Okay, so which means to say that it can only take place one at a time, at every one point in time. Under no circumstances, both can occur at the same time. Okay, So all these will take place due to the presence of the anatomy, the structure, which is the penis. Okay. So that's the end of the male reproductive system. We will move on to the female reproductive system in the next component.